Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a comment and then a few questions to the proponent of the bill, if I may.
You may proceed, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I would just like to point out that I think this Medicaid Oversight Council was an excellent idea to begin with, that we know that we really need to look to our cost efficiencies and to all that we possibly can do to help our citizens here in the state to achieve the best health care we can, and Medicaid plays such an important and integral role in that provision. So with that, I did appreciate hearing that the members of this council will still be included as we move forward with looking at Medicaid cost efficiencies and savings, particularly looking at the home care provision, nursing home, looking with individuals with disabilities, and including, which many times are left out, the superintendent of schools and the education piece. But my question through you, Mr. Speaker, to the proponent of the bill, if I may.
You may proceed, madam.
Thank you. I'm concerned with all of the good work that the council has achieved and looking at all of the best practices, cost efficiencies. Can you please explain to me how we actually will get that information out to our citizens in Connecticut, to those that this Oversight Council looking for the recommendations, how that will be effectuated?
Representative Steinberg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you, an excellent question. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why we felt it was important to post the report of their recommendations on the MAPOC website so that anybody who's interested in their deliberations or their recommendations can see so directly. Obviously, the agencies involved as they implement programs need to make sure all those affected are made aware of those changes. So I think that the process that's been in place for changes as it relates to Medicaid, and particularly Husky A and B, should be sufficient to make sure those who are affected are aware of any changes that will be implemented. Through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But my question may go somewhat deeper. How would the person in the public know to get onto the website? Have there been any activities, outreach to the communities? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Steinberg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you. Again, that is a good further drilling down. It's important to note that many of the members of MAPOC come from the community themselves. There are community organizers, there are people who are involved with the impact of Medicaid, really at the grassroots level. So we depend on them as well to make sure the information gets out to the affected populations, and that has been effective in the past. Through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And then just one final question, if I may.
Please proceed.
Thank you. As we move forward then with the Oversight Council, there will continually be annual reports. It's just that this committee is consolidated, if I heard that correctly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Steinberg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you. Yes, I like the good representative's terms, consolidated or merged. Nothing is being lost here. The focus remains important to everybody who's involved with MAPOC, and we have every confidence that we will be able to move forward with the appropriate oversight. Through you.
Representative McCarty.
I appreciate that answer. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, madam.